How's it going, everyone? This is Matt Weaver. This is the solo edition of the Popular Speed Report. I just got back from Talladega Superspeedway, working for PopularSpeed.com. Solo this week. No Chase Wilhelm, no Kelly Crandall. She'll be back with me next week at Martinsville Speedway. The first real short track, and the only real short track in the chase for the championship. And so we're just going to go over a few topics, recap the race at Talladega. Hopefully I can get some feedback on this sucker, do some more of these, and see what you guys have to say. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold. I come back to hot Atlanta, and it is freezing cold, just like it was all week at Alabama, at Talladega. And, it was a weekend that really defied the odds. Nothing made sense. It was a cold weekend. The race came down to a single file finish. For the most part, Jamie McMurray wins when Austin Dillon is turned by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. into the wall. The caution comes out. Jamie's announced as the winner. Probably more important than that is the fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes second yet again at another restrictor plate track. And the championship leaders did not have a great day, but since all of them had, kind of subpar finishes, things pretty much stay status quo. If I'm to look at the results, you came into this race, and I'm wearing my South Alabama hoodie for those who are wondering why there's a giant cat on my chest this morning. We came into this race at Talladega, and Matt Kenseth led Jimmie Johnson by 4 points. That is pretty much flip-flopped heading into Martinsville. Due to his 13th place finish and Matt's 20th place finish, they have again flip-flopped. Now, Jimmie Johnson leads Matt Kenseth by 20 points heading into Martinsville. And I think this is a big deal, guys. I got the impression, just from watching momentum, Jimmie has it right now. He kind of held serve last week at Charlotte. Matt kind of pulled one over on him. They held even. But Jimmie's now taken the points lead. And if you start to look at the next 4 races, you've got Martinsville. Jimmie has an average 5.5 finish in his career at the paperclip half mile. He's solid at Texas. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I do know that at Phoenix, Jimmie's won 4 races. And while he's never won at Homestead, you could make the case that he's never needed to. He usually has the championship about wrapped up. And, all he has to do is hold steady. And I think that's a very similar deal, for the next 4 weeks that we could look at here. I want to touch on the race itself. The reaction immediately after the race I thought was pretty negative. I thought that a lot of people on Twitter, Facebook, all the social media outlets, talking to some of my friends over text message and on the phone, people said the race was boring. They said the race wasn't a lot of fun. And I disagree fully. I cannot disagree enough. I think that the race was super exciting, especially in the first half. I know the second half is where most people are going to remember the race, but I think in the first half you had a lot of 3-wide, 4-wide racing. Some of the best racing I've ever seen at Talladega. Talladega is my home Sprint Cup track. I'm from Mobile, Alabama, South Alabama, and I've seen a lot of races at the Talladega Superspeedway, and I think that Sunday's race is one of the better ones I've seen in quite a while. But the disagreement, the negativity, ultimately comes from 2 reasons. One, Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished second. Fans are never going to be happy when Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes second, and so there's just a natural inclination to feel disappointed. But more importantly, I think a lot of people thought that there was going to be a big wreck, and fans are so conditioned to expecting the big wreck that when they don't get it, they feel let down. I think at Talladega, you come to the race, you pay for a side-by-side finish, and you pay for the big wreck. And for a while, you're paying to see Dale Earnhardt Sr. then Dale Earnhardt Jr. win races. So you had 2 of the 3 not get fulfilled. You didn't have Earnhardt win, you didn't have a big one, and so I thought people thought the race was boring. And again, I thought we had a really exciting race last week at Talladega, yesterday at Talladega. Again, the first half, a lot of side-by-side racing, but the second half was single file. So why did they get single file? I think there's 2 distinct things going on. There are 2 dichotomies at play. One, the chasers. the chasers who are running at the top, Kyle Busch comes to mind. He realizes that Jimmie and Matt are far back in the field and not making progress. It doesn't make a lot of sense for him to be the one to pull out, because if no one goes with him, he's going right back to the back and he's going to join Jimmie and Matt. And so for guys like Paul Menard, Ricky Stenhouse, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's way back in the chase, the question then becomes, well, what do they have to lose? They're not running for a championship. They're running for a win. But in a way, they are running for their own championship, especially guys from 14th on back in the standings. They're running to be, high up in the standings as possible. There's money in that. There's prestige in that. You can sell that to your sponsors. You have a chance to win. And so I don't think that you want to throw that away without any sort of guarantee that someone's going to go with you. And so it made a lot of sense to just stay there in line. From talking to Paul Menard and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the post-race press conference yesterday, I asked what was the balance between risk versus reward. And they said that they were going to wait as long as possible for that second line to form and head towards the front and jump out in front of them, and the line never came. It's disappointing, I know, and I know that we all thought we'd see a better race or a more exciting finish. I thought the race was good. But, everybody wants to be the leader of that second pack, the second group on the bottom line that forms. And when you're the first one to jump out and then someone jumps out in front of you, if you have an opening to jump back out on the high line, you're going to do that. And you saw a lot of that. The bottom line, they tried to form several times. It didn't work out. And I think everybody wanted to be the leader. And if you're one of the guys up front, you're waiting for that train to come. The train never did. And so you just hang out up front. And the race ended under caution. I think NASCAR made the right call there. Remember, at Talladega, the start-finish line is essentially at turn 1. And so for them to come, take the finish, stay at speed through 1 and 2, they're just now backing out of it, going into the backstretch. That's where the crash is. That's where Austin Dillon and Casey Mears ended up. And while Austin was able to drive away, there's debris all over the track. And so it's best to just throw the caution out right there and, just call the race. So again, the championship battle. Matt is now 4 back to Jimmie. And, to be honest, I think this is the key race in Jimmie Johnson's championship battle. His 6-pack. If you can get past Talladega and you start to look at the final 4 races of the year, if you're Jimmie Johnson, you have to feel pretty confident because they're all races that line up pretty well. Again, Martinsville, all the great finishes. Texas, his great battle with the 2-car last year. Again, Phoenix, lots of wins. Homestead, he can get the job done. If you're Matt, you cannot just make the assumption, well, I've had my bad finish now, a 20th place, and Jimmie's going to have his too, because I don't see where it's going to happen. And it's kind of like the old saying, if you're expecting bad luck, then you're probably, you don't have a shot anyway. And that's not to say Matt doesn't have a shot. He's 4 points back, and he's won 2 races in the chase, 7 overall. But the task that's before him is pretty stout, and you start to look at some of the names that have gone up against him in championship battles and lost to the Jimmie Johnson buzzsaw, and it's pretty impressive. You could say Jeff Gordon in 2007, Mark Martin in 2009, Carl Edwards. You have Denny Hamlin in 2010, and we know that Brad beat him last year, but Brad got the bad luck for Jimmie that Matt's probably not going to get. I don't think Matt can expect to have Jimmie crash at Phoenix or have a mechanical failure at Homestead. If Matt Kenseth is going to win this championship, he's going to have to beat him head to head, and I'm just not sure where he's going to do it. But maybe I'm wrong. If you guys want to interact with me and give me a response, my 3 questions I want to ask is 1, did you think Talladega was boring? And if you did, I want to know why. Was it because there wasn't the side-by-side finish? Was it because Earnhardt Jr. didn't win? Or is there just something overall lacking about the championship picture? Second question, we're heading to Martinsville next week. It's Jimmie Johnson's playground. I think Jimmie Johnson has the inside line in winning this championship. I also think it's a two-man race. I don't think Kyle Busch at 25 points back or Kevin Harvick at 25 points back, I don't think they have a shot. Stick a fork in Jeff Gordon, he's done. He needed a better finish than 14th when you start to look at the fact that Jimmie and Matt had finishes of 13th and 20th respectively. He shot himself in the foot big time. And so, other question, Martinsville, again, short track racing. It's some of the best racing we have on the schedule every single year, bar none. I think we should have more of it. Are you a fan of the short tracks? You know I am. Super late model guy. Let me know what you think. You can respond to this video in the comment section. I'm on Twitter at Matt Weaver SBN, and visit the various websites that I write for. Obviously, this is the Popular Speed. It's popularspeed.com. Follow the Ranting and Raving short track blog. A lot of good information there. I'm on Facebook as well. Contact me. Shoot me a video response. I'll respond to each one to the best of my ability, whether on video or in comments. And let's try to make this a more regular occurrence. I will be at Martinsville Speedway next week. Obviously, I'm not going to beat a lot of the bigger reporters, so what I'm going to try to do well is interact with you guys. I'm a race fan just like you, and I'm excited for each and every race weekend. And let's chat. See you guys.